Most cars don't die on the highway. They die from tiny daily habits that quietly grind them down. If you're doing these, your engine, transmission, and electronics are aging 10 times faster than they should. Skip the common stuff everyone parrots. Do these 11 overlooked habits, and the same car people scrap at 150,000 can sail past 500,000 miles without a major teardown. The twist? The biggest life extenders aren't in the owner's manual. They're in the way you park, warm up, fuel, shift, and clean. Miss just one, and you'll pay. Nail them, and you'll drive forever. Habit number 1. Use the parking brake every time. This is the cheapest transmission insurance you'll ever buy. When you throw an automatic into P and walk away, a small steel pawl inside the gearbox becomes the only thing stopping 2 tons of car from rolling. Park on a slope enough times without the parking brake, and that pal takes repeated shock loads. The next owner gets a mystery clunk or a failed transmission lock. The fix is simple and invisible. Stop, keep your foot brake pressed, set the parking brake, then shift to park and release the foot brake. Now the car's weight sits on the rear brakes where it belongs, not on a delicate pal. Do this on flat ground too. The habit keeps the mechanism free and prevents cables and calipers from seizing through disuse. Over hundreds of thousands of cycles, you avoid wear on the pawl, avoid binding loads on the parking gear, and avoid that horrid slam when you pull out of a steep spot. Nothing to buy, minutes saved in repairs. Number 2. Never run on fumes. Modern in-tank fuel pumps rely on gasoline for cooling and lubrication. Run the tank low, and you expose that pump, letting it gulp hot fuel vapor and air. The pump overheats, the brushes wear faster, and fine debris from the bottom of the tank gets dragged into the strainer and filter. Do this for years, and you inherit intermittent lean running, a dying pump, and injector wear, exactly the kind of random failure that strands cars at 180,000. The long life habit is boring. Refuel before the quarter mark. That keeps the pump submerged, temperature stable, and sediment undisturbed. You also reduce the odds of sucking vapor on climbs or under hard throttle, which can spike knock and wash protective oil film from cylinder walls. Bonus: topped-up tanks resist internal corrosion in humid climates because there's less air and moisture condensing in the headspace. A small refuel habit now is a big repair you never have to make later. Number 3. Shift like a mechanic. Gearboxes don't blow up. Drivers shock them to death. The 2 silent gearbox killers most people never consider. 1 shifting between reverse and drive while the car is still rolling, and 2 resting a hand on the shifter or power braking launches. Rolling shifts slam clutches and bands that aren't fully applied yet. A second saved is hundreds of heat cycles lost. Resting your hand on a manual's lever preloads shift forks against spinning hubs, lapping them a few microns at a time for years. And brake torque launches cook fluid and shear friction material. The forever car routine. Come to a complete stop before any RD shift. Move the lever only to shift, not to lean. Pull away with normal throttle. Let the software do its job in autos and match revs cleanly in manuals. Add scheduled fluid services for temperature control, and your weak gearbox quietly outlives 2 engines. Number 4. Stop stacking cold starts. Engines wear most when cold. Thick oil, tight clearances, rich mixtures, and condensed moisture all conspire in the first minutes. If your life is 3 5-minute hops instead of 1 15-minute drive, you multiply those high-wear minutes while never letting moisture and fuel boil out of the oil. Over years, this shows up as sticky rings, varnished lifters, and acid-bitten bearings. The 500,000 approach. Bunch errands. Take the longer loop once a day and finish with 5 extra easy minutes so the oil and exhaust get genuinely hot. In winter, don't idle endlessly. Start, let the idle settle for 30 to 60 seconds, then drive gently so everything warms together: coolant, oil, ATF, wheel bearings. That's when oil film stabilizes, PCV systems purge condensation, and cats light off. 1 warm cycle beats 3 cold stabs every time, and it costs nothing but slightly better planning. Number 5/idle time. Engines don't just need air, they need clean, metered air. A tiny leak past the air filter lets dust act like liquid sandpaper on rings, cylinder walls, and compressor blades. Over the years, that's why some mystery low-compression engines die early. Make a ritual of opening the airbox at service time. Check that the filter seats evenly on its gasket, the lid tabs aren't cracked, and the snorkel isn't split. If you run an oiled performance element, don't over-oil it. Excess oil films the MAP sensor and skews fueling, which washes cylinder walls and fills the oil with fuel. Lightly vacuum the clean side of the box, wipe the MAF housing with the correct electronics cleaner, and inspect for dust trails. They reveal leaks you can't see. Replace filters early in dusty climates and after wildfire, construction, or off-pavement seasons. On turbo cars, feel the inlet couplers and clamps. Loose joints ingest dirt and shed rubber crumbs into the compressor. Perfect air sealing quietly preserves crosshatch, stabilizes trims, and keeps power consistent deep into six figures. Number 6. Maintain the electrical heart. Electronics run the modern engine. Low voltage and bad grounds turn good cars into gremlin cars that eat components. Corroded battery posts add resistance, forcing the alternator to work at high output longer. Loose or dirty engine and chassis grounds create sensor drift and noisy signals. The ECU swings fuel trims, coils work harder, and modules heat soak. The long life routine, once or twice a year, disconnect and clean battery posts and clamps to bright metal, coat lightly with dielectric grease, and tighten correctly. Follow main grounds, clean and refasten them. Avoid deep discharges. Don't run high-draw accessories with the engine off, and replace old batteries proactively before winter. If you've added amps or light bars, size your wiring and fusing properly and consider a higher output alternator. Stable, clean power. Quietly prolongs every control module, coil, injector, and pump in the car. Number 7. Wash like a preservationist. Cosmetics matter mechanically. Salt, clay, and oily grit hold moisture against steel lines, unibody seams, subframes, and fasteners. That's not just ugly. It seizes brake bleeders, weakens fuel and brake lines, and turns simple repairs into torch and extractor jobs that kill cars early. Adopt a preservation wash. Hit an underbody rinse every few weeks in winter or after beach trips. At home, use a gentle spray to flush wheel wells, subframe pockets, and pinch weld seams. Pop the hood only when cool and mist off. Crud around radiator supports, battery trays, and the top of the transmission. Grime is insulation that traps heat. Clear sunroof drains, cowl drains, and trunk gutter channels so water doesn't creep into body modules. Finish with a quick rinse of the condenser, radiator fins, and a pass of wax on painted seams. The car doesn't just look better, it stays serviceable past 300,000, which is when most rusted fasteners start writing repair estimates. Number 8. Drive lighter. Weight is a force multiplier for wear. An extra 100 to 200 pounds squats suspension bushings, heats brake rotors, and makes the engine and transmission work harder on every hill. Permanently hauling just in case, gear, toolboxes, or roof racks you never use is a slow-motion longevity tax. Worse, towing or loading beyond ratings cooks ATF and flexes the unibody, which shows up years later as creaks, cracked seam sealer, and uneven bushing wear. The half-million-mile habit: clear the trunk, ditch the dead roof rack, and respect payload and tow limits. When you must tow, use the right hitch, add an auxiliary transcooler if the platform is known to run hot, and keep speeds sane. You'll feel it immediately in brake smell and trans temps. You'll see it a decade later when the suspension still aligns, and the gearbox hasn't glazed its clutches. Number 9. Service all the fluids. Everyone changes engine oil. The long runners quietly refresh everything else. Automatic transmission fluid, transfer case and differential oils, brake fluid, power steering fluid, and coolant all age from heat, load, and moisture. Old ATF loses friction modifiers. Shifts get longer and hotter, and heat kills clutches. Brake fluid absorbs water. Corrosion blooms in calipers and ABS modulators, and boiling points drop during mountain descents. Coolant loses inhibitors, aluminum pits, heater cores clog, and head gaskets suffer. The durable driver's schedule, conservative mileage-based services, even when a manual claims lifetime fluid. Lifetime usually means warranty lifetime, not 500K. Use high-quality fluids that meet the spec and record dates and mileage. You're not just preventing one failure, you're controlling temperature, the real life limiter on most lubricated systems. Habit 10. Keep crankcase breathing healthy. The positive crankcase ventilation system is the unsung longevity part most drivers never touch. Its job: pull blow-by gases out of the crankcase so they don't condense into sludge, thicken the oil, and attack bearings and seals. When the PCV valve/diaphragm sticks, or the separator clogs, crankcase pressure rises. Oil finds the next weakest seal, and you inherit mysterious leaks, burnt oil smell, and rising consumption. The long life habit: treat PCV hardware like a service item. Every 30 to 60,000, inspect or replace the PCV valve or diaphragm, clean the hoses and orifices, and confirm the fresh air side of the system is clear. In winter or short trip use, mayo-like condensate in the valve cover means the PCV isn't evacuating moisture, lengthen drives, and refresh the valve. Turbo engines often use an oil separator. Cracked housings and hardened seals are common. Upgrade to the latest revision. A breathing crankcase keeps oil dry and additive-rich, prevents gasket creep, stabilizes idle trims, and quietly extends bearing and ring life well beyond what most owners ever see. Number 11. Fix small problems immediately. Cars rarely jump from perfect to dead. They whisper: a weeping hose clamp, a faint belt chirp on humid mornings, a coolant smell after shutdown, a slow crank at dawn, a vibration at 65 miles per hour that wasn't there last month. The 500K driver pounces on those whispers. Tighten or replace a clamp before the hose lip erodes. Swap an idler before a bearing seizes and shreds a belt. Balance a wheel before it saws your dampers and arms. Change a marginal battery before low-voltage spikes toast a module. Build mini inspections into refuels and washes. Quick hood pop, glance at coolant level and color, oil level between changes, crust on battery posts, dampness under the water pump. CV boot. Integrity, inner tire, shoulders for cupping. Wetness at caliper sliders. 10 minutes monthly prevents $3,000 stories. The difference between a car that suddenly needed everything and one that never needs anything is often 30 seconds of curiosity at the right time.